Welcome, podcast fans. It's time for the What's Up Bro podcast show presented by J&J Production Studios, the home for all your entertainment needs. All kinds of great topics discussed every week, a variety of different themes offered, special guest appearances, prize giveaways, and so much more. Stay tuned. And now, here are your hosts, Sam Crow and Big Hoss.
Hey everybody, good evening and welcome to another new episode of the What's Up Bro podcast show, brought to you by the one and only J&J Production Studios, your one true home for entertainment. We are back here with you guys. No show on Friday night. Took a break. Miss Eliza and I were spending some time together for our anniversary, so we took the night off. But here we are again, Saturday, raring to go. Let's get the mics going here. We got myself, of course, and Big Hoss. How are you, Big Hoss?
I'm good, pretty good.
And I understand we have a guest with us tonight?
Yeah.
So who's joining us for the evening?
This is Faded.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how are you? Welcome. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, of course. We always love to have new friends here. You guys know we haven't had anybody else on the show for quite a while, so it's a nice treat when we can add some new folks here. So we'll quickly get you into how things work here. It's actually kind of fitting too, because tonight is if you can't tell from the title of the episode, well, we probably can't, but in the description especially, we have some major news that we're going to share tonight that we want to start incorporating with you guys. We haven't set anything up to this point because nothing was definitive and definite, but now that we know, and it seemingly seems so, we can feel free to share with you guys. So that's going to probably lead up to us going through the first portion of the show tonight, as well as some announcements, because this is kind of all tied in together. This is kind of a huge, big spider web of information that is going to be very important that we want to share with you guys and make you all aware. So, with that being the case, first of all, and I know everybody else can't hear, I can. I just need to have it so it's not totally quiet for me in the background. There we go.
I got you. My lighting.
Yep,
hey,
sure, no problem. So as you guys know, we're going to start it this way, and if you've been a regular listener for a long time, which of course we always very much appreciate, so thank you for being here and part of our family and growing with us, and we hope you love all kinds of the great fun content that we have and been putting out. And again, it's going to be a big year this year. Of course, we always that's part of the major announcement that we want to share too, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But as you guys know, if you are a regular listener, we typically do the show. We usually go live every time we have a chance to do that. Minus on the occasions where we do record if we want to take a night off or we want to get some other episodes in and we have some free time elsewhere, we have that option as well. So the service that we use, Spreaker.com, the software has the ability you can choose whether you want to go live and broadcast or if you want to go offline mode, which we sometimes do, and upload episodes later on, you can. We didn't know this, and we only found this out because of our good friend Mr. J, who you guys know, Sanitarium Show, Ragnarok Radio Inc., who's currently not on Spreaker anymore, and that's also part of this announcement for that too. Through, I guess you want to call it dumb luck and happenstance, we have found out that supposedly supposed to start now. I'm going to give you more details later, but Spreaker hasn't been notifying, but now is notifying people when they discover this. They will be discontinuing the live feature that they have with their software. What does that mean? That just basically means that any podcasters that use Spreaker service will not have the ability to go live. Yeah. Now, what does that mean for the show? What's happening? I don't understand. Let's break this apart because, believe you and me, when we kind of first figured this out, we had no idea, no clue what was happening, and it kind of confused the hell out of us too. So we'll see if we can break it down. So what we have been led to believe and told, and Mr. J was nice enough to share some of his correspondence with the tech support and people that work in customer service. Without much of an explanation, which we are hoping to discover at some point, they have decided to cancel the Spreaker, I guess you want to call it the live streaming service that they afford you, which again, whenever we go on the studio software, which we have, whenever we go to start and set up the show, we can either have two options to click on. We can go live or we can go offline mode, which is just recording an episode, which uploads later. Now, as you guys know too, when we go live, typically we're only live on Spreaker, and once we go offline, then the episodes upload to the other streaming services that you possibly use. What's that?
Yeah.
To the rest of the streaming services we use.
Yeah, that goes up there. So really it's only Spreaker. So one theory that we had is maybe they just determined it's really not worth it to have it because there's probably not a lot of revenue there. We're not sure entirely. That could be one possibility.
Not even really conspiracy theoretical form, but they even have a lot of things pressed into Congress where they backed it to where there's reasons found not to have live television. They have the 2-second, 3-second delay due to immature or improperly use of that live ability, but it could also mean to control a lot of our knowledge and what we get brought to us, since we're living in this technology moment and era that's just pounding a lot of information in us.
Yeah, I mean that's very possible. Again, we don't have any definite, and we're just, for you guys especially at home, we're just kind of speculating because we don't know for sure. We just know that because it's been somewhat announced, it's going to happen. And based on what we're told, the live action button will not even be on the software. It's going to be completely removed as of December 31st of this year. Now, whether that means we've already been notified, too, that they are asking us not to go live, we're going to begin to start to transition. We're hoping that...
I'll be right back.
Go ahead. We're hoping that we can try to go as live as long as possible, but we don't know how much longer we'll be able to do that. So, and we might try to, because we don't want to get ourselves in a lot of trouble there. We don't want to risk anything there, especially for you guys listening to the content. So we're going to play it by ear, but we are hoping to make the most of it. And if we do have it, at least, because that would be at least up to about another year, a little less, if that's the case. Give or take. So we're going to have to play it by ear, see what happens. So what does this mean exactly? Well, in essence, it actually, after we thought about it a little bit too, it doesn't really hurt too much for us specifically because we do have a few of you guys that do listen live. So it's just a simple transition. You'll just have to catch the episodes. And again, how the scheduling will work. And you guys know we've been trying to expand our scheduling to incorporate the other shows that we have. This might actually help us. So we're seeing it as the bright side that this could be a very good thing that's going to afford us the opportunity to get more content out, which is what we've been wanting to do. Big Hoss and I will still be using this time slot. We'll be recording, and the plan would be is that we will record the episode during this time slot and we'll publish it immediately. So you guys listening, no matter what service you listen to, you will have the episode right away. So that could be a good thing because our numbers tend to trend by downloads and by people that catch the episodes later. So that could actually work well, especially with other services like YouTube and SoundCloud and everything. You'll have the episodes right away. So it won't be like if you listen to Spreaker like now, you'll hear us live. You'll get the episode as soon as it's launched. And again, we might have the ability where we can schedule our things ahead of time. We could actually record several episodes and turn out the content maybe twice as much as we normally do. So there is that. The only really massive thing we lose, which I think is kind of a bummer, is the live chatting feature that we have, which, matter of factly, let's get a message out there since I'm thinking of it, and since we still have the ability to do it so far. We just won't be able to chat live. Obviously, we won't be live anyway. But you guys can still send us messages. You can comment, especially on the links for the episodes, or if it's on YouTube, you want to comment on the video, whatever the case is. We will correspond with you guys, and we will chat with you for sure. Especially, you guys know, too, we're working on getting the website developed, too, so we might be able to tweak some things there, which gives us more flexibility to interact with you guys as well. So kind of in a nutshell, I wouldn't say it's bad news. It's kind of interesting news, but we're going to roll with that. And, of course, you guys know, too, if we want to go live, we have our Kick and our Twitch channels. We can also do YouTube if we want to live stream there. That's always a possibility. So as far as content-wise goes, it's not going to be massively huge. It's not going to be as detrimental as maybe for some other podcasters who have larger shows. But we just want to get you guys accustomed to it because we're going to be starting to transition soon. We're not sure what limitations we have. And, again, we're not trying to rock the boat. We're just going to try to utilize what we have while we have it. and see how that goes. So that's kind of the major thing there. And again, if we find out more details, we'll be happy to share. We don't know much. The plan is to eventually try to see if we can coax Spreaker into giving us more intel as to why this is. But again, we can only speculate because we don't know for sure. But we're going to roll up the punches. And so, as we stated in the episode title, a new era is about to begin because episodes will be there. The content will be the same. You guys know how we roll. It's not going to change. It'll just be strictly uploads, and the episodes will be pre-recorded. That's just going to be how it's going to go. Unless we change things up or we incorporate other opportunities to stream the episode, which I'm thinking too, which I think I shared a little bit with you on this one. The service that Deanie uses and those guys use for the Pod Z Quad podcast, we could probably utilize and go live with. Might be fun. So that's an opportunity and an option we could add to our existing.
One?
What's that?
What is that one?
That's the one where if you saw when I was on the show with the other guys that we did that one.
We're not doing live videos.
Well, no. What you can do though is you don't have to have your camera on, so the cameras can be off. You'll just be audio. So there is that option. Because there have been instances where some of the guys they do turn off the camera, so we can do that. And again, it's just an option. Doesn't mean we're gonna do it, but that's just if we really are getting antsy to want to be live, we could do that as well. So that's pretty much. I'm sorry, guys.
I want to break out, to interrupt you, but I wanted to give you I have a couple of sources that are, one of them is particularly, he's a good friend of mine. He's works in the UK department of Cisco security malware manufacturers and things like that. And he got an update of this recent thing coming on that was about to change. Even though he's in a different country, they all, they have to manage their things differently, but he was kind of really caught by off guard by this no more live broadcasting and making that possible to speak on. And the from what their corporate explanation is for them to have to monitor this stuff is to monitor the content that's being put out there, that it could be offensive and cause things. But I think what he said was it's just according to him, there's a lot more to it, that he's breaking through files and trying to find out what is the true cause of this. Not in a conspiracy or theoretical form, but more trying to grab a hold of some actual data, some actual knowledge on what's going on with them. In a sense, trying to quiet us, or not quiet us, but make sure that the content that we're releasing is going to be content approved. Right. You know what I mean? I believe he even stated a global mission. How we share, and we're starting to now unify a lot more. You know what I mean? And people from different parts of the world are finding similarities and commonalities together. And at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? But it's a overall, because we're able to all share our thoughts and connect together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
According to my sources with him, I'm still waiting on to see what's going on, because he gets that stuff in and out, and he's been with that department for about a good 14, 15 years. Wow. And he's very, very trustworthy and everything. But yeah, he's been showing me some of the interesting stuff that the contracts that they get, with Cisco. I'm not sure if you heard of them. Security system. Yeah, they've been around for a while. So he's pretty interesting. Still, I'm in contacts with him about getting into what types of files and stuff like that about our laws and what's changing since this new year's coming. And this next new year is going to be, like you said, it's going to usher in a new era. It's going to usher in a new era. And
it's funny too, because I think, an interesting point when you bring that up. I forgot about this because, not that we don't utilize, we cover most social medias that we're on for just to reach fan base and everything like that. But I recall actually, and it's interestingly put, when this started happening, there was a notice from Tumblr actually, and I didn't know that you could do this. Tumblr had the live feature, which they've announced that's no longer going to be that feature is going to be done away with as well. So it's interesting how that ties in, because of course we all know, and if those of you don't know, of course you've got to be living under a rock, but the whole change from Twitter to X with Elon Musk doing that was trying to circumvent the censorship of exercising our right of free speech, which obviously, if you follow the stories, there's been a lot of blowback there, and I know X has kind of taken off, and not much really has changed as much, as well as there's some features and things that, and I will say this, just to put it in a nutshell, it is sad in regards to where we don't have those freedoms and the abilities to share openly, and it feels like more and more, and again, that's why we say every year something always changes, where it seems like the restrictions just get piled on and piled on. Now, I understand that there's all sorts of things to deal with, and especially from broadcasting standpoint, because it's the old age adage of we have, like, say, the movie industry, for example. We have some films that launch in the U.S. that can't be viewed in China for legal reasons, that they can't view it and it's offensive and all that sort of stuff. And I understand that. That's why all these different countries, they function. We all have different rules and regulations and things. But it's just, it's seemingly more so just, it's getting difficult to really have the ability, like, even with, radio's been around longer than television and most things. Like, back in the day, you could look at these old shows like from the 30s and 40s that, now obviously it's a different era, different generation that we're living in, from like 60, 70 years ago. But, back then the concepts were simpler, and the FCC has always been around, especially on television and stuff. It wasn't as rough as it is now. But it's even like we've had that where most of the services, and if you're a content creator, whether you use YouTube or Twitch, Kick, whatever, you share your content across multiple platforms. And the issue is that, you have to be careful. Like, for example, and you guys know too, we have the YouTube channel where when we play our commercials, we have specific music set aside so that we don't risk copyright claims on there. I'm not saying, YouTube is what they do, and I understand that, but it can be absolutely such a pain in the derriere for that, because there's so many things, and the algorithm just kind of screws up everything when you do it. So it makes it hard to, and I've had people ask me this question. That's why I bring up that point. How do you work around that? Because we've had other podcasters that'll be like, we don't. Why do you stream on YouTube? We don't do that. Now, do we put a lot of time into YouTube to do it? No, and we try to keep it simple, unlike most content creators that do it. But the reason that we have it is, from a business standpoint, it's just another avenue for people to listen to us. You want to have multiple channels and platforms. You don't want to isolate yourself just to one area. So, and that's why, like, the show, if you look us up, you can find us. We have iHeartRadio, we have Spotify, we are on SoundCloud, we have all these other things that, and it's personal preference too. It's kind of like with our technology. Some people like certain phones, like between Apple and,
right.
all those type of arguments, right? So,
right.
It's just kind of those things to get around. But I think it's a tricky situation to navigate. But when you understand that, and kind of to Faden's point for that too, is, it's something to make sense, to be at least to educate yourself, to know what's going on, so that you're not blindsided by it. Doesn't mean you're always going to find the answers you're looking for, but you should at least be actively looking for that. Now, to spin this, though, in a positive light, because this is kind of where our announcements tie in for this tonight. And again, nothing is set in stone, of course, but we have a couple ones that we're really excited. We want to jump here is, number one, and we are still talking with him. There's a possibility, and we're still waiting for word. Mr. J is looking at collaborating and partnering with us and coming back on the airway here with us, and merging onto our personal network here, so we can incorporate the Sanitarium show. I'm still waiting on word for that. And if you're a Ragnarocker and you guys know, we were trying to bring him back. So I'm sure you guys miss him. He hasn't been on the air for a little bit. But basically, the Sanitarium show will be under our umbrella of our J&J Production Studios company here. So we're still sort of in negotiation with that. I know he's still considering other platforms, but one of the major reasons why he wants to get back with Spreaker is for his show, he does a lot of music, and from what I understand, which I didn't know this myself until he told me this, and he's been on here longer than we have. Apparently, Spreaker has it contracted where you're able to play a lot more favorite types of music without any sort of legality issues. I guess it's some kind of contract that they have, which is great, and I kind of figured it makes sense. But we are hoping to incorporate that, so we're in talks about that. We'll see if we get an update on that. We'll let you guys know too. So that's one positive thing. The other major announcement we want to share, and we're really excited about, and I did share this with Haas. This will be new since Faden's new. He'll get to hear this with you guys for the first time too. So one of our big draws, we had this last year, and we've been reaching out to some folks. We had our big celebrity guest on the show last year. We won't say who, just because nothing is officially set in stone. But, and a spoiler surprise, there you go. We may have a special celebrity guest lined up for this year already. We did send an email from the email account. Got in touch back from this person's representation, who said they are currently quite booked at this point in time, but they would love to have us be in touch with them, and if the schedule allows, they would love to have an opportunity to be on the show with us. So really, really excited, and this could be a topper for the year. And again, I just don't want to say who because I don't want to jinx it. It's still early, but we can say at this point that this is a good indicator, especially based on the fact that I was not expecting a response. We checked the email and I didn't realize they were getting back to us, and so it's going to be really, really awesome. The other thing I will say is, just to give you a little more information, this particular celebrity person is a voice actor who has done some work there, which again, I don't want to specify who because it will spoil a lot of that. But if we get more information that they want to confirm and be on the show, and we'll definitely share more. Of course, obviously, we will get a promo photo to share on social media, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I've seen this person do a lot of work. It's one particular. It is a TV based off a TV show that was very popular that I was a big fan of that I liked, and so just kind of took a shot in the dark with reaching out and not expecting a response. But so we will be in touch there. And again, as we get more details, and if it seems like we can get a date locked down when this person will make an appearance, we will definitely share more information with you guys. We just don't want to, and again, we don't want to get our hopes too high up for that, but again, the response back was a very interesting one, which is probably the furthest we've gotten from a celebrity guest that we have no connection to. So it seems a very good possibility that they will make an appearance. To be determined when, where, why, how, dates, times, all that stuff. We will have to speak to them further about that. But there's some bright spot for you guys to kind of liven the mood and lighten things up for the night. So if you want to know who and when that happens, again, give you guys a chance. Make sure you check it out and follow us. Linktree.com/J_J Production Studios. All of our socials are there. Check it out. Follow us today if you're not already. And stay up to date on that information. We'll be happy to share it along with you guys. So there you go. I feel like there was another point I was going to make with the... and again, I'll just reiterate this because I think I said this already, but we're going to, as far as the changes with the software there, we're going to try to do our best to see if we can get a live show now and again. We don't want to press our luck too much either, so we're going to try to make the most of it and see what we can do. But we just want to have the opportunity while we still can tonight to do this, just to help you guys begin to see the pattern, what's going to be happening. But content will be there. We're still going to have a great time with it. You guys know what we do typically, so it's not going to change anything from that standpoint. It's just the ability to the live and in person on there. But again, we have other opportunities, and it's an opportunity when we have the website going that we might be able to do some different things as well. So it's one of those.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
You're very well right. You hit the spot when you said about what different avenues to explore. This is something that's going to be reaching out now to see what formats and what's going to be trickling affecting. Going to be a pattern. It's going to. One thing that my source was kind of trying to say, you know what I mean, that the contractors, a lot of the different ones, are all kind of following in line. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I would say in the media, telephone or telegraph department. They're probably the same thing and getting the same offers and same preventions and things like that, so that they don't get lawsuits. A lot of legal things kind of come into play when it comes to copyright infringements. And, you know what I mean, content that they're dropping. And I could see them real quickly, different corporations wanting to be ones that would fit in more best for content creators that and channels and podcasts that would be available to send out as much information as possible, or what do we have to do? Start speaking in code? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
All going on video and learning sign language. You know?
Maybe. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I understand. And again, because the fact that, and that's the interesting point that you bring up for that is I never thought of it in that regard. That if it's a, I say it as a global thing, but if it's a widespread thing where this is happening, and that's why I mentioned Tumblr, because I found it interesting that, you know, all of it, and it literally seemed like it happened come like the beginning of January coming in, like all of this stuff was all of a sudden just starting to come into fruition. And then maybe, like I said, nobody got any warning. Like, you know, usually, and I mentioned the reference for this, we had Spreaker's feature has like the auto sharing. They did send a message to its users like us that have an account. They were having issues with auto sharing to SoundCloud, for instance. They were trying to work it out. I said we may be able to do it. We might not be able to do it again. We're not sure. They took it off took it off as an option, which indicates they couldn't figure out the problem. But this case, it kind of just came out of left field. But if perhaps it is in part of all these things that are changing now, they could have possibly been blindsided by it too. Where again, if the company itself is falling in tow for that one, because when you think about it, and I said this at the start of the show, and if you guys are just tuning in, welcome. With this particular service, the only way we're live is through Spreaker itself. We're not live on YouTube. We're not live on iHeartRadio. The episodes get uploaded once we go off the air. So the point being is that it's strictly on Spreaker as far as direct source content, because that's where the creators are putting that out there. So it makes sense. Like, those points that you're making there make a lot of sense for that, and I never considered that. So it kind of does. And again, we don't know. For you guys at home, this is a disclaimer again. We're speculating because we don't know 100%. But those are very valid points that could explain a lot of things. Because my biggest draw was, if they knew this was going to happen, why didn't they? You know, it's kind of like, like you say, like your thing's going to go up, like your subscription. Let's say like your streaming like Netflix, for example. Like the cost, they're raising the cost now for a new year. But at least they give their users a heads up. Hey, you know, your price of the account is going to go up. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. In this case, they didn't do that, but if it was kind of out of the blue, or if it was impressed upon them, it's kind of like one of those, you don't really have a choice because everybody's kind of going to be doing it. That could explain a lot of things. And I'm curious because, again, we do want to reach out to them just for clarification. Hopefully they will be able to shed some light on it, but they may not too, so we can't guarantee that either. But it just kind of seemed, the timing always just seems really funny. It doesn't seem like there's a rhyme or reason to it. But the only thing it's a new year. It's 2024. We're barely a month into a new year, and all of a sudden these things are beginning to snowball. Like, it's just starting to up coming. Yeah, exactly. So, and you know, I will say this: Twitter. Well, I still call it Twitter because technically the domain name is still the same. They haven't changed that, even though they swear up and down it's just X. Well, it still says Twitter.com. But either way, however you want to look at it, that's sort of been the poster child for
Twitter with the tattoo
of the X. What's that?
Twitter with the tattoo of an X.
Yeah, see, I like it, and I get it, and I understand the concept. But if you're going to do that, and again, Elon Musk is a smart guy, and he's got all these people that work for him that, you know, do this, and a lot of tech people that can do it. And I know it's not a simple thing to change a domain name, but if you own the brand, you own the right. Why not? You know, if you're going to change everything, and the change happened over this past summer. Like, I even told people, I told people it was funny because I hadn't seen any of the articles that it was changing. I just know I looked at my phone one day and I'm like, I don't remember that app being there. Like, what the hell is that? True. And I clicked on it, like, oh, it's Twitter. Like, what the? So when I Google searched it, I'm like, then I saw the article saying, oh, they're changing over. This was back in July. I'm like, oh, like, what is all that? And it kind of makes sense, but sometimes these things just happen. But I'm like, listen, if you're going to do that, could you at least do the service and change the website domain name? Like, seriously. Like, that's the funny part. And I get it. And sometimes things get overlooked. Boo-boo. What's that?
Okay, boo-boo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, if you're going, and think about it.
Well, I'm referring, we got to tell him. We got to tell him the bear story.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Actually, hang on. I think we're going to run out of time though, because I think our meeting's going to end. We got. Where are we at? Yeah, we'll do that after the break because we're going to be going. We're going to be our meeting's going to be cutting off here. We're going to have to recalibrate. We'll share that.
I'll have to resend you a new invite there.
Yeah, so when we do that, we have new time. We'll share that. Yeah, I know that's a story that I will never live it down, and I'm okay with that because it's a.
That's why I went, hey, boo boo.
Yeah, I get it now. I get it. It's been a while since we pulled that joke, and it's a fun story. So we'll be glad to share that. But
good old Yogi Bear.
It's a little bit bigger than Yogi. We'll put it that way. So it's a fun. We shared. This is one of those timeless classic stories that we share. Which
bigger than Yogi.
It's a lot bigger than Yogi. Yeah. Well, and it wasn't. Yogi at least is friendly. This was. This I don't think would have been the same result. So we'll be glad to share that. But yeah, we appreciate that and Faden, like I said, making good points. That those are things never really thought about that. As you're saying, that makes a lot of sense because again, it kind of just, and like I said, again, we can't say definitively, but when you think logically about it, it just kind of falls into place there a little bit. So that could be the reason. That could answer a lot of questions that we've had because really this whole thing was just kind of puzzling from the onslaught. And again, we only knew this because. And I shared this with you, Hoss, that Mr. Jake wasn't able to go live. They deactivated. He couldn't do it at all. But we were still able to, and currently still are able to. That's going to change at some point. And obviously, when they make a change like that, some things do fall through the cracks. Not everybody's always effective, and I believe that's a big reason why we still are able to. And we'll utilize it as much as we can. But if we're being, and we've been asked not to do it as much, so we're going to try to be mindful of that. But it's just interesting when you really dive deep and break it down and try to make sense of it. But some like anything else. So sometimes there really is no answer right away, or
they do a lot of hiding. They'll bring down content creators in a legal form of 5 different directions just because they didn't even any of those accusations that were being their whole content's being brought down, but it's their word against the content creator, and I'm sure their credit is like, all right, well we'll pull out on stakes and funds and whatever else we got in your marketing and people that are harnessing that. I'm sure currency plays a big part in the way that our communication is going. You know what I mean? And I was gonna mention, I think that's probably why they didn't let us know, or they had a legal reason to not give us such a head, because it wasn't so much to do with currency. But what the other things, like with subscriptions, it has a lot to do with that. So it has to get that notification. Would you like to upgrade for HDR or things like that? You kind of okay, because they're going to start pulling money if not. You know what I mean?
Right.
And due to that lowest amount of currency of $2.99 to any currency amount, still legally we have that law where they have to give us that notification. If not, it's illegally, false advertisement and stealing from us. You know what I mean? But I'm seeing that pattern too with you, like the way you're seeing it. You know, it's a spider web that's kind of and
it all just happens so fast, like everything. And that's the thing that's sticking for me, because it's one thing. Like for example, again, we'll use Netflix there because this just happened a few months ago, which we knew this was common knowledge, but Netflix had announced that they are no longer utilizing the actual DVD discs like they used to send them in the mail and stuff. Now, we already knew that was going defunct. Nobody's done that for probably since Netflix first came out way back when. But this was sort of the heads up, hey, by the way, we're discontinuing this service. And as a matter of fact, they were having like a fire sale where they're like, if anybody wants any discs, like we got to get rid of these things. But at least, it kind of gives you sort of an indication. Now, we know that, obviously, with online streaming now and streaming services that have upgraded, and we didn't have this. If you go back like 10, 15, 20, almost 20 years, the streaming wasn't what it was. It was still very, not even a thought process there.
It was baby steps.
Pretty much, yep. And like now you have HD, you have 4K, you have all these, And one of the biggest spoilers was, for me anyway, when COVID had hit, And I think it was a really smart thing, but at the same time, it's going to put the movie theater business out was when it's now just Max, but when it was HBO Max at that time, had contracted with a lot of big motion picture companies to stream the movies that were coming out on the big screen. You could stream them right from your home.
Put them there. Yeah.
Yep, which was genius because obviously nobody could go to the theaters because of COVID and the social, the distancing and everything.
Did you see how everybody followed in line? Netflix, Paramount, Disney.
Just to keep up with it, they had to do it, yeah. And the problem is the ones that lose, though, are the movie theaters because obviously movie theater. If you ever go to the movies now, and I haven't for a bit, but I know it's expensive to go. But what you would pay for a single ticket, like for an adult, for example, you could just as easily rent it or have it streamed right to your home, and you don't have to go anywhere. Not to mention paying the concession prices on top of that, which can, and I'm not saying I'm knocking movies. It's always been fun. When you're growing up, that was something you always did. And again, we didn't, I'm growing up there, we didn't have all this stuff. So that was the big technology, quote unquote, at the time. That was the thing to do. Even like the video gaming and stuff has gotten so advanced to where you can do just virtually everything. And I can even tell you, going back to when my parents had our first cell phone, the old phone was almost like the old flip phone. You could make calls and do this stuff. Mm-hmm. Now your phone does virtually everything, which was never a thought.
You have a computer in your hand.
Basically, yeah. Nowadays, and you pay almost like a computer price because they're not cheap.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like, all right, now I see the whole the method behind it.
Yeah, I think a lot of this went and blew up right after. Went from analog to digital.
Pretty much.
People were kind of at that point, and it was like smoke screens and curtain calls when it was the whole Y2K era that nobody was really thinking about the signal changes and fiber optics and things like that. The way we're at it now, where since all they just plug that in the outlet, and then now it's going to rapidly go. It's just people are going to take to it. It's going to make our lives easier, more convenient. All these different excuses to kind of make electronics be more in control.
And I mean, in some cases, it is true. We do get a lot more. But again, there's always, and I said this, the old adage is too, there's always a price for it too. So even some things with the best intention too doesn't always mean that there's always something that comes off. There's always a positive to a negative. So no matter how good you try to make something, and I credit a lot of companies that do technologically advance like that, but there's always still possible problems and things, and nothing's ever foolproof. We just know that it's common logic no matter how far we go. So, but it's an interesting point to know, and we know that, and that's where it's always going to think about. So if you guys at home never thought about it before, think about it now. So let's take a pause here because our meeting's just about to end. We're going to lose these guys. We'll get everybody resituated. We'll play a commercial for you guys. We'll play some songs. We're going to get everybody back in here, and then we'll let Big Hoss, he likes to tell the story, so we'll share the bear tale.
No, you're telling the story.
Oh, you want me to? I can tell it. I'll tell it. But you have to give your portion of it because you tell your side of it where you were sitting from the point of it. So we'll regale that. These are some of the fond memories we share there, so we'll do that when we come back. I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday night. I hope you're having a great weekend. We are now in February. Valentine's Day is coming up soon. If you are going to plan to celebrate, hope you guys have a good loved one you can spend with, even if it's just family. It doesn't have to be a significant other. If you have that, though, that's great. But we hope you guys are going to enjoy it. We hope you guys are looking forward to a lot of great stuff that is going to happen this year. Of course, again, we're going to make the most of things, and we're going to still provide you with the best content we possibly can. That won't change for sure no matter what. But we hope that you guys will continue to keep up with us, follow along. We love being a part of it. We love having you guys with us. It's always a treat for us too. Every weekend we look forward to it. And we're also really looking forward to having the opportunity to just continue to create great content for you guys. And we have the other shows coming out. We got so many things we're going to be doing. And we're just super excited about it. I hope you guys are as well. And again, of course, as always, we want to have you a part of it. Just as we're a part of you guys, you're a part of us. We love having that opportunity to share with you there. And we got a long way to go. We're only into February. This is only month number 2. We still got 10 more months to go before the end of this year. So we're going to definitely have a lot happening. And based on the information we have now, a lot of things could happen. It could be quite the year. We never thought it would take off this quickly. Of course, we didn't last year either, so we'll see how that all plays out. Stay tuned, though. Stick around for more. We'll be back shortly. We'll have Fade and Big Hoss back here chilling with you guys. I'm Sam Crow. You guys know who we are, but we still have to remind you once in a while because sometimes we tend to forget too. And we don't try to, but if it's a long week and you just have a lot of things going on, you forget those little tidbits. So perfect time though for break. So if you guys want to, do what you need to do for now, we'll be back shortly. If you're listening to this later on and it's recorded already, you want to pause it, you can. Let's play some tracks here for you guys and a couple commercial breaks, and we'll get everybody back in here. We'll regale the bear story. If you haven't heard it, you're going to want to hear it. It's pretty funny, I have to say. I didn't laugh at that time when it was happening, but I can certainly laugh about it now and hope that you guys will as well. We'll be right back for more. Stay tuned. Don't go away as the What's Up Bro podcast show continues right after this.
Hey audio fans, are you looking for fun and excitement? Have you been searching for that special show? You know, the one complete package you want in a podcast? Then check out the What's Up Bro podcast show and experience what true entertainment is all about. Stay tuned and don't miss the action. Available on your favorite streaming services, including YouTube. Thank you for all your support. And as always, we'll see you at the show.
We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
Hey there, do you love podcasts? Are you having difficulty finding the right ones to listen to? Is it frustrating when you're trying to pick that show? You know, the one where everyone must collectively agree on? Like finding a good movie or TV show to watch, do you look for the most jam-packed entertainment that's possible to find in a single episode every week? Then search no more, and welcome to J&J Production Studios. It's our business to provide the best entertainment and information available for you. Whether you're sitting in that comfy chair with your favorite snack and beverage listening live each week, or downloading your favorite show episodes to take with you on the go while you're at work, exercising, or even just to play at night for you to fall asleep to. There's something for everyone, no matter what size, shape, or age you are. Visit www.linktree.com/J_J Production Studios to find all the streaming services where our podcast shows can be found. You can also connect with us on your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook and Twitter. You can join our public Discord server and chat directly with us. Oh, wait, there's more. You can subscribe to our official YouTube channel and be notified every time a new show is broadcast. Wish you could have some studio souvenirs or collectibles? Guess what? You can. Visit the official store where you can purchase items featuring your favorite podcast and show hosts. Would you like to help support us? You can do that by getting your very own exclusive membership on our Patreon account. All proceeds go to help us upgrade our shows, which will only enhance the entertainment provided to you. Thank you so much. We're excited to have you as an audience. Your love and support are always appreciated. We'll see you soon.
Break time is over. We're so glad you stayed tuned. Now back to the action as the show is set to resume.
All right, welcome back, guys. Thanks so much for waiting and being patient, and hopefully it wasn't too long of a break for you, but even we need a good break once in a while, so that's kind of why we do that. It just gives us a chance to refresh, recalibrate, and get back here and hang out with you guys. So let's get everybody back in, so just bear with me a minute here, because I've got to reintroduce everybody back on the show. I should be able to do that. There we go. Meeting's coming up. Again, the things you don't have to do. I wish we didn't have to do it, but you know, we find so far up to this point, this is the absolute best that the show has been since we're able to get better quality sound for this. It's the little things that you learn, honestly, and I will say we've learned quite a bit, so it pays off. It's just a matter of, it can be a pain in the neck sometimes trying to get it all straightened out, and a lot extra legwork and room and more mileage now and again. But either way, we're hoping that we can incorporate some other things and that we can be able to make it a lot simpler, but it works. And again, I've listened to it, I've gone back, I've checked out a few more episodes since we made a few adjustments, and they sound fantastic, and it's a lot of fun. And really, again, we've gotten to a point where I think we're really happy with where we're at. Could it be better? I'm sure it could, but sometimes you don't want to rock the boat either. So we take what we can get and we roll with it, and then we let it work. So as soon as we get everybody back in here, I gotta close out some screens. I gotta move around. You gotta jump all kinds of places. Let's see. There we go. We just gotta wait for everybody to jump back in. Let's get our fire started. Actually, I can do that while we're waiting. If I click the right one, I did. See, I get them right once in a while. I'm due one or two now and again. Let's see. There's one. Why did that disappear on me? Oh, it's because I opened up another screen. There we go. La ti da di da di da. Oh, let's get the mic on. There we go. Mics are on. Oops, I got too many windows here. Wait a minute. Alright, so that's one. I'm assuming we're waiting for Faden then too, right?
Yeah, you coming, Faden?
Yeah, again, best laid plans, the things that we do, but We make it work. And then for the final portion of our evening here, we'll share some humorous things, because I think this is one of Big Hoss's favorite stories of all time, and I gotta say, it's not something that happens every day. At least not, for me anyway. But this is one for the books. So we'll get that going here in just a second. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other announcements that we need to share other than that. I don't think so. I mean, we're pretty much set. We are going to be, and it's on my list of things to do. I may actually do it tomorrow. I'm going to reach out to Deanie. So Big Hoss and I are going to make an appearance on his podcast show. We're going to see if we can set that up, see what he has available. And I think I think time-wise you can do. I'll see what he has available, and then I'll send you the message. And if you're free, let me know. That way we can put it on the schedule. But we'll give you guys the link for that, and we'll be able to upload that episode too. We're going to save that as well so that we can air that for you guys in case you miss it when we're on there. But that's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun for Big Hoss. You'll have a good time. It's always a lot of fun hanging out with Deanie. So we'll be doing that. That'll be coming up hopefully maybe sometime this month, maybe for March. I'm not sure. We'll see what schedules allow. But it's on the docket, that's for sure. Yeah, I think that's about it. No updates on the website yet. We're still in collaboration with the web designer trying to get it. There he comes. Why did that disappear? I hope I clicked the right thing. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so as soon as we get fading back in here, we're working on it. Audio's good.
Hey, let's go.
There we go. All right, yeah, this is the only really pain in the Pawtuckus. But that we found this is the best way because everything's patched right through the software, so the audio is fantastic, and it literally will sound like we're all in the same room, which we're not. So there's that.
Yeah. A green light on my end.
They're good. Yep, we're all set. We're loud and clear. All right, so the story that Big Hoss likes to talk about, so we have to go back. This was, let's see, what are we at? Probably about 2 years ago now, I want to say, right? I think it was 2020. No, was it 3? Yeah, had to be... Let me think now. We're in a whole new year. Had to be 23 years ago. Had to be 2021. I want to say.
This,
yeah, something baby. Like that. It was in the last couple of years. So it was in the summertime, and what I would typically do is, and I usually like to do it. I usually bike more so than I do now, but I'll walk occasionally. And so I was out for a walk. So in the evening, Hoss was on the phone there. I think we were using Discord at that time still, so we were chatting as I was walking there. And so where I live, I can go. Essentially, it's around the block, but the roads are spaced out where it's almost like walking 3 blocks going around 1 block. It's a long walk. It could take easily about up to an hour just to walk around the block. It's that kind of long. So that's kind of what I was doing. So I don't remember what we were talking about. We were just chatting, and as we're walking there, and it was starting to get dark, so I'm trying to pace myself to get back because I don't really have anything reflective or light enough to wear in the dark. I was walking by there was a house I was walking by that I know they have stuff out in the yard, and I think they practice their hunting. I don't know if they use rifle or bow or whatever, but there's usually stuff out in the yard. And I know that they have, I don't know if it's for target practice entirely or if it's just for like a scarecrow effect. I'm not sure. I know they had a fake bear that was out in the yard. So at this point at night, it's getting dark. I can only see shapes, so it's like silhouettes. As I'm looking over and I'm walking, I notice that I see it's definitely a bear in the yard, but I kind of stopped in my tracks because I'm like, that bear is a lot bigger than I remember it was. Because I know what it looks like. I've seen it enough through the course of a daylight what it looks like, and I'll get to that part later at the end. So I'm looking and I'm like, this thing is pretty big. And then I thought to myself, oh, that's not a fake bear. That's a real bear. This thing was probably almost full size. And I'm probably about, let's see, standing in the road, couldn't have been more than maybe 50 feet away. And so now I'm thinking, all right, well, my first natural instinct is if I start running and the bear sees me, he's going to run me down. I ain't getting away. So I proceeded to, I told the hoss, like, you know, shut up, like, don't talk too loud, like, you know, he's on the phone, like, you know, like, I got an issue here. So I continued to walk. I started to walk. I'm like, best thing to do is just act like I don't see him, because if I don't see him, he's not paying attention to me. And I think he was eating too, so I don't want to draw attention to myself. Well, once I started to get far enough away and I started to go, I was walking downhill, started going down the road downhill, then I started picking up speed. I started hauling ass down the hill. So I'm like, now I'm going to run because I'm not looking back. I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I don't care. I nearly tripped and started doing like the whole cartoon rolling down the hill, but I'm running. So, and then as I'm running,
on camera. He's on
camera. I had
camera.
the camera on.
He looked like Speedy Gonzalez running down a fucking hill.
That bear is not getting me.
Well, and I'm like, I'm not even looking back because I don't even know.
Yeah. I wouldn't look back either. Don't look back.
I'm not. Well, here's the funny part, too, then, of the story. As I got down the road from that house, across the street, the next neighbor house, there was, they had one of these, like, super, almost like a farm kind. Like, they had this really long driveway. It was like a family and this car's coming out. They were sitting by the mailbox there, sitting in the car as I'm running by, and I stopped there. I'm like, I'm out of breath. And everybody's opening the car door. They're getting out, looking at me like, are you all right? I'm like, there's a bear. There's a bear back there. Like, I don't know. I don't. And I said, as far as I know, I didn't see me, but I can't be sure. And I kept going. But, like, my heart is racing. I couldn't breathe. I was getting all clammed up. I couldn't swallow. I'm like, because my first instinct is going to be that if he sees me and is going to chase me down, I'm not getting away, because contrary to popular belief, bears can really move when they want to. And even though he might weigh like 800 pounds, he's still catching me, no questions asked. So, yeah, especially going downhill. So I finally got home, made it back. I was worn out at this point because I was only halfway around. I still had to walk all the way back to the house, and it was pitch black dark at that point. So why this story gets funny, though, is, and this is why Hoss likes it too, is the next day, I went there later in the afternoon, like midday, so it was daylight, just to kind of see if my theory was correct there. Yeah. Went past the same house, in the car this time, but I'm like, looking at the yard, I saw the artificial bear in the yard, and right away I'm like, yeah, what I saw last night, that wasn't it. That thing was like twice that size. I'm like, that was a real freaking bear that was out there. Because I knew exactly where, I remembered exactly where it was standing, and I looked that direction. There was nothing there. So I'm like, that was a real, probably, from what I could tell, I mean, it had to be a black bear, because they're pretty common around here, but I'm like, I don't know. And I can't make eye contact, I can't see it, but if he can see me, we got problems. I'm leaving. So I ain't waiting around to find out whether he sees me or not. I'm gone.
You don't want to find out. Haters. Yeah.
So we are planning a camping trip here in Colorado, me and Sam. And I told them, if we see a bear, you are not allowed to fucking haul ass away from me, because I can't run.
I'm pushing Hoss down, like, here you go, here's your food, I'm leaving, see ya.
As long as I can get faster than Hoss, man, I'm like,
like, sorry, buddy.
I'll say nothing but good things about you.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, but if it's you or me, well, I don't want to die today, so here's your buffet. Here's your buffet. Here's your appetizer. Here you go.
Here you go. He saved my life.
It's funny because, like, I don't know, it's one of those moments you just...
He was so brave. He fought off that bear so I could get away.
He used his fat hiney to feed that bear so much the bear had his mouth full. I had plenty of time to get away, so no problem.
Yeah, I'll come back and bring the bear shooters. I'll bring my shotgun. Hopefully he'll just get done with the leg.
But it's like the worst time, and you don't know, and it was funny because it wasn't funny at the time, but when you look back, it's like, it's kind of like those skunk moments.
It was fucking hilarious.
Well, yeah, because you weren't there. Like, I'm the one face to face with this bear.
Watching your ass run down the hill like Speedy Gonzalez was fucking funny as fuck.
Well, because I'm like,
I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing the whole fucking time.
Let's put a bear behind you, man. What would you do, brother?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'd back away slowly and then take off running.
Yeah.
Same basic idea I did. That's what I'm saying. Like you just, yeah.
Yeah, when you're running, sometimes you just don't want to stop running. Even if you fall, you just get back up, just keep running.
Because you don't know too. Because that's why I'm like, that's even at that far distance. And again, my sight line isn't good, but if I can see shadows and if I move too quickly, if he's attracted to movement, like they're gonna tend to want to move that direction, which I don't want that. So even if it was broad daylight, which would probably would have been a lot worse. But I'm like, and it was just a whole, like, this is not like a little cub. Like, this is like granddaddy, like, that thing had to be like almost 3 times my size if it stood up on its hind leg.
They're our size. You know, the teeny
baby ones, yeah. No, this one was like, if he stood up, he pushed his hand on the tree, he would push it right over. It would have came over. Like, yeah, I don't think so. So, I am not that curious to find out. Like,
that's a good one. I think we all got a Yogi Bear to share ourselves, man. I tripped out before over here in Northern California. Bears they tend to they've done something I've never knew that bears do. They run up and they jump in the tree.
Yeah, they can.
They literally hide because Yogi like. I went out one time to my buddy's land. He had he has 54 acres out in the ridge, Northern California, Sierra Nevadas.
Yep.
Penn Valley, Grass Valley. So, anyways, we go out there. He loads us up, bear spray and all this and that. We go check out life, and it's so beautiful. Everything's magnificent. Well, we start hearing these thuds in the distance. Just like these sudden like we're city boys, dude. Like,
well, yeah.
So I got my gun, but you know what I mean. Like, just for emergencies, we always have to be safe. But
you never know. Yep.
Yeah, we're out in the wilderness, and anyways, so we get out of there, and then he's all having a kick out of it because he knows what it is. But it's just like 3 of us that are kind of just taking the tour, seeing the stars just lighting up the sky. It's a whole new world out there in the wilderness.
Absolutely,
yeah. But in short, just to long story short, we finally found out because he goes, he had this super high tech, the high definition light. See like everything. He goes, check this out, and he pointed up in the tree, and pointed up in the tree. It's this bear, like a little teeny bopper bear, all scared of us, looking down at us like, what's going on?
Even though, I mean, you're the one that probably could eat us if you wanted to.
I did what you did. I backed away, bro. I was just like, I know I could run faster than him. But I should be all right. But
you just don't make sudden moves because it's like, and especially in the case of, I know that there's always these theories back and forth. Do you play dead? Do you hold still? Do you not run? Don't climb a tree.
Fetal position, all that.
You just don't know. So the thing was, especially in the case of and that for me was like, I have a good 50 feet or 50 yards away, but it's still he can close the distance pretty quick.
Oh.
But I figured if he's already occupied, which it looked to be the case, if it's kind of like when you have if you have a dog and you feed them, you don't bother them while they're eating. You back away and let them, because they get protective of their food.
Nature's
pretty much. Thing. So you kind of just leave them go, and if they're already distracted or they're occupied, you just don't draw attention to yourself because that's usually where most people will get in serious trouble for that. Now. That's why they also say, I said to the host for that one, we got to watch because they say, don't leave any open food out, especially when you're camping there, because it tracks bears coming in because it's almost like raccoons in the garbage can. They go scavenging and they look for whatever they can smell. So, and pretty much, just 10 times the size of that, but still, it's the idea of, you get that whole, they look for the food. So you you don't want to make it easy for them, and same thing with stray dogs or cat, if you, and we've had those, we feed them and when they really need it, but we try not to feed the ones that, you don't want to have, I can't have 20 cats living on the porch, but you want to help as much as you can, but they're looking for something. So if they're not distracted or they are, or you see the opportunity, and like I said, based on me, I can't see anything because it's dark. So my only assessment was, if I can see you, you're probably likely going to see me. But if I don't show any interest and I keep walking and I turn my head around and I don't draw attention to myself because you don't seem interested in me in the first place, then we should be okay. So that's kind of that, and I'm waiting for Hoss. You got to have one of those days. One of those days you're going to get one of those moments where you're going to be trapped in your apartment by a stray dog or something that's going to be chasing you down the hall. And yeah. And then be like, I didn't leave my apartment for 3 days because the dog was out there growling at the door. And then we'll see how scared you are because
run into Cujo.
Pretty much. And that's why I'm saying, like, I've had that. Like, it's scary.
Before. That shit's
scary.
You're right. My friend had a dog that looked like the dog from Sandlot. That motherfucker was this tall.
Oh, Saint Bernard?
This big.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. I sat down. I'm like, if that dog comes charging at me, I'm fucking screwed.
I ain't running.
They're big babies.
That's the thing. They look so intimidating, but yet it's kind of like, I don't know. I think it's also the temperament too. If the dog knows you and stuff, but you're always be cautious around strangers because that's where it usually causes issues. But it's the same rule apply when you think about it and you break it down. It's kind of the old adage too, like talking with strangers, not knowing people. Like, I don't mind talking to people, but it's one of those you still keep. Yeah, you gotta like kind of. I mean, I like to approach people. I'm nice to people, but if I don't know you, like I'm kind of like still being cautious of how much interaction. And I've had people. It's like, look, I don't mind talking, but like you don't have to get super close, kind of thing. It's
body language is a big one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to tell sometimes because people can either they're very descriptive how they telegraph body language, or sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But it's one of those weird situations. Like I know, like Hoss said, like I've had people come up that are not completely sober doing that. It happens, and there's nothing usually wrong with that. And I've had, I've seen all kinds there. I've had like complete strangers from all opposite ends. Like it's just one of those. You try to learn. You try to. Number one rule for it always is I'm usually always polite to a person no matter what. Number one, because you don't want to escalate anything. Number two is, and I've had this where if you have to engage with someone, you keep it short and sweet and try not to drag it out, to let it linger a little bit. You keep moving on. You keep how are you? Hi, thanks. I got to keep, I don't try to stop dead in tracks. It's not like I'm trying to ignore you. It's just, and sometimes you're just brutally honest with people. It's like, look, I don't know you. You don't know me. And I mean, it's not like I'm saying you're,
you like, came in really fast to put some gas, but catch me. But yeah, I'll take. I wish if I could, I would. I kind of hold it like that. If I can, I would. If I can't,
but usually you can't. And it's the same thing with the hitchhiking rule. Like you just don't pick anybody up. You just can't trust anybody nowadays. I mean, it's just, and it sounds bad, but when you look at it like that, most people understand. Like and. I've had family, I've had friends that have lived for a long time. It's like, it's not like it was 80, 50, 60, 70 years ago where, like, my grandparents would grow up, you didn't lock your door, you did none of that stuff. You could literally go to bed. Now, like, the best story I ever said was, and I share this with people because this is where you get a dose of reality. Now, I know that a lot of the horror stories come out of California. I've never been out there, but I know a lot of the things that come out there. And same thing you said even on the East Coast here in, like, New York and stuff and places, but... Here's the thing. Though. This is how you know it's bad. So, in the church group that I was in when I was when I was a teenager in youth group, we volunteered and did a lot of missions trips and stuff. The one trip I went on, it was in Center City, Philadelphia, and they told us we did the events for the day, and it was getting close to the evening. What were our sleeping arrangements? Because obviously, we're staying a couple days. They're telling us, we have it worked out where we're going to be, divvying everybody up and staying at some of the congregation that they open up their houses. Oh, so we're not staying in the church then? No, you're not staying in the church. And they said because this is a bad section of Philly. And when we left the building, we left the church, they had a lock on it. It was almost like it was Fort Knox. So I'm like, oh, all right. Like literally you turn like the vault door, it's closed. I'm like, oh, like that level of bad. Like if you have to lock a church there, like who would come in there? But
supposedly, you know the saying, there's the church doors should always be unlocked. That's the saying now. But saying
not in Philly. Not in Philly.
When mine was or grandpa, when your grandma and grandpa days, that was really real. You know what I mean? You were able to walk into the house of God at any moment because there was that respect level that I think is not anywhere at the same that it was at now. Or you know what I'm saying? Very different. Once you start from there, I don't mean to cut you off either, but once you start from there, it trickle affects that desensitized part of how to carry yourself, your ethical, moral compass, and you know what I mean. Sure that just carries on, but it fits in a lot of what you witness. Like you're just like, whoa, what's going on? This is that level of like insecurity that's going on. That people could threaten this place, this house of God. Like, okay.
Well, and think about it this way too, like, and it's not to overindulge in this topic, but it's true, and I'm a big advocate for it. Look at things ever since, like, the way that the government runs politics, for that matter. Like, everything's just kind of torn in half. Like, it's just falling apart. Like, society as we know it, we're going back to, like, ancient civilizations where it's almost like we're like the Neanderthals back in the day. Like, there's almost no law and order. Yeah. And, I mean, the sad part is, like, listen, and I tell anybody, like, I perfectly fine, like, even back, just again as an example, because I think about this a lot. I said this to people. I don't mind talking politically with you. I can look at different viewpoints. I'm okay to have a discussion. That's the whole reason why America, we're diverse. We have different beliefs and different ways of looking at things. And it should be said where, back in the day, if you were on one side of the fence, if you're a Democrat and a Republican there, we could still have a conversation about it without being at each other's throats.
Lose your job.
No, and you're not going to offend anybody. You could talk openly. There's no fist fights that break out. Yeah. All that stuff.
And now you could lose your job. You could be harassed. You could be.
You can't say anything. Yeah.
Want to have to stick to themselves. It's like you can't even talk to your own family about political.
Yeah, it's such a hot button topic. Like, and that's the sad part because I'm like,
it's the most important thing is in our life.
Well, and that's for our nation to function. Like, if you are oblivious to it, it doesn't make things better. Like, it's better to understand.
And us to daily function. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For them to what type of controls are we doing? For example, am I walking on the wrong side of the street, or should I not be walking at this time because I'm not in tune, or I just wouldn't even want to pay attention to anything political that's going on in my district or anything that's going on in any politics that's happening, because when it comes to it, it's always an offense. I'm always offending somebody, and when it does,
no matter what you say,
I'm offending the LGBTQ, or I'm offending somebody.
It's
being
and look,
hateful.
we get it, we understand, we can respect it, but it's the whole idea of that it's another old saying, can't we all just get along kind of thing. Like, why are we? And I get
float your boat. That's cool, but
that's fine. Yeah. But you should have no. It's kind of like we're talking like with the censorship or the issues with the things change. You shouldn't be afraid to say anything that's going to fear of reprimand or fear it's going to come back to bite you, because, truthfully, that's really where I think we fail a lot. And that's why I said I used that example when we started earlier tonight was when Elon Musk announced he was purchasing Twitter for $44 billion was what the purchase cost. And with the idea of making it with free speech and no left wing, the Democratic side of censorship, I totally respect that. I get where you're coming from. I see the logic and why it makes sense to do that. I'm a big supporter for that. It's not just to stick it to the left for that one, but it's the idea of it's defending our rights constitutionally of the free speech method, which is the First Amendment going in. So it makes perfect sense in that regard. Now, and I say that too for the point because, and I'm not saying everything, because I know he has brought a lot of backlash on himself. There's some things that are just too stupid to really talk about, but on some topics that Elon Musk has been attacked and X has been attacked on, you can see the butting head of where fighting for that freedom of rights to do that, but at the same time, the old method of trying to censor everything, there's constant clashing back and forth. And so some things that are, like, I forget, there was something recently. Now, the only thing I do blame Musk for is, I forget what the topic was, but he alienated himself from a lot of his sponsors that were backing out, that were dropping. Look, that's on you, though. And I'm not saying you're a complete idiot for doing that, but sometimes you have to draw a line where how far do you push the envelope, kind of a thing too. And I think you went a little too far with that case. With you took the liberties a little bit too much. But
and that's what people do a lot right nowadays with liberties, especially freedom of speech, and especially what he did. You know what I mean? When it comes to a lot of those powers that they take that tool, or that I would say that right, and they go wild with it, like with what you just had mentioned. And Elon Musk, he would go to such extremes. You'd almost wonder, is he doing this intentionally? Because
that's the thing.
Any bad news is better than no news. You know what I mean?
And it's like one of those things, like, you get your point across, but you don't have to. I mean, I am a big fan too of share what you have to say, get your point across, and leave it at that. You don't have to keep, pushing. We get it. You made the point. Like, you don't have to keep beating the same drum. We get it, understand it, and that's the other thing. Like, that so many people where they're want to be heard, want to share. Everybody deserves that. That's fair, but at the same time, it's short, sweet, to the point. Get to the nitty gritty of it. And that's why I say, too, a lot of times in the political system, it doesn't work anymore, because politicians just typically argue more than anything else. Nothing gets accomplished. So the rationality goes right out the window. And I'm blaming everybody. I'm not taking sides on that. I'm saying it's all the way around. It's the entire scope of it. There's no, Democrats, Republicans, they're all get wrong at times. And nobody's exempt from making those mistakes.
No, perfect. Yeah.
So it happens, like, you can't sit. So instead of, and that's the other thing, finger pointing. Well, it's the left side, it's the right side. Both have equal faults here. It does happen. So that's where, and I think it's the communication breakdown too. That's where our problem. And my thing is, and I'm not bashing any specific outlet, but the American media is what causes a lot of these problems, and especially with social media now that the big media outlets can utilize social media and integrate that, it just makes it 10 times worse, because now you are sharing this. The demographic just goes so nationally and so widespread, even not in our own country, it goes out to other countries, because people are using social media and they see what goes on. And most people will say, I live in Ireland, or I'm in Pakistan, or I still read about what's going on in the U.S., because that information gets shared globally. Everywhere. So it's kind of like airing your dirty laundry kind of stuff too. Things get out there, but again, and this is where they get in trouble too. And then the media too, they bang that drum of, well, it's our right to free speech. So there's always that conundrum that kind of goes back in circles. So, but I think it's interesting, and when we share that, and the theme for that tonight too. Obviously, we're talking a lot about some new things that are going to happen, and again, we roll with the times. Things change, but I think it's just the important message here, which we're going to end on this note so we can begin to wrap things up here, is no matter what it is, don't deny yourself the chance to edify and understand what's going on around you. Now, I know that's, again, can be cliche and sounds the same, but really it's true, because you'd be surprised how many people are or can be just oblivious to things going on, whether that's by choice or not. I think a lot of times, in most cases, it is. They choose not to. Like, for me, I'm not oblivious, but I don't try to read too much on the news, because there's never anything really good. And it's the same basic stories that just recycle every other day, in essence. Do I want to know what's going on? Absolutely, because it helps to, be mindful of that and make sure that you are aware of it. But at the same time, there's a point where, you just got to say, that's the line, that's where I'm drawing it, and that's where we're taking it. So I think that's a great lesson there, and we definitely appreciate you coming on tonight, Faden. Thank you for those points there. It was great, and it really sparked a lot of good thoughts and process, and I'm sure you guys at home listening are going to get some probably some new perspectives. I will tonight for sure. I know that's some things we didn't think of. So, but we're glad.
It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, no, we'd love to have you come back. If you'd love to come back again, we'd love to have you here. Whenever you want to, jump in, we're usually hanging out. So if you're ever free and want to do it, we'd be glad to have you come back. So anytime, welcome to do so. But thank you for joining us there. We appreciate that. And of course,
on a good note, man. I got to say, you did up some eyes if they are listening and did hear it.
I hope so.
What I mean?
That's the whole goal. So I hope.
That's kind of my goal too. You know what I mean? On a good note, is to open up. Be aware. Don't just
to think about it. Yeah.
Don't deceive yourself. You know what I mean? Kind of be in the now. Even though
you don't have to be a genius, but you just got to at least think a little bit to, at least have some level of common sense factor of, just understanding around you. And, I think that's the thing where, again, I say the media kind of drowns that out because there's so much, for lack of a better term, garbage that floats around that makes it difficult for people to want to invest. So I don't blame it in that regard, but all I will say is they always say, and you learn it in school, knowledge is power. So the more that you know, the better opportunities you can afford yourself. And again, you don't have to be a complete Einstein, but you want to have at least a good grasp, firm foundation of that, which I think is a good thing that we covered, and I think a lot of people can benefit for that. And I hope you guys listening at home do. And the last thing we will say, too, is, again, these are just some opinions and things that we are sharing. A lot of you might feel the same way. But do your own research, too. We always tell you guys, research it for yourself. If you have a different viewpoint on things, we always welcome contrasting viewpoints. Do your research, figure it out. And again, if you don't have to take it super far, but give yourself at least something to edify you with, whatever that is. And it could be different things. It doesn't have to be just politically. It doesn't have to be economics, whatever. Just give yourself that little bit of insight, and I think it'll help you guys grow in a great way and give you perfect opportunity to at least be ahead of the curve as much as possible. Things do change. Life drops on a dime, but at least we can say that we're prepared as much as possible and that you had it planned and you know about it well enough that you might be able to change the course of direction and maybe put yourself in a better position than you were before without knowing anything. So there is always that, but we appreciate those insights there. We're glad to have Faden joining us. Looking forward to again, come back anytime. I'm glad to have you here. Thanks for spending time with us. We'll enjoy the rest of your weekend, and you guys at home too, of course. We're so glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. It was an honor.
Yep. Take care, bro. See you next time. Thank you guys too for listening. I know Big Hoss has signed off for the night, but he passes his well wishes on for you guys. Thank you for being here, guys. We love having you here. Be safe. Whether you're out partying, if you're just at home, that's fine. Whatever you choose to do, it's what you want to do. It's what you love doing. That's we all to each his own, right? We all have our different likes and dislikes. So we're just glad that you guys are here with us. And again, of course, as we begin to transition things, again, it's a new time, a new era, different things, but the talent, the quality, the entertainment value, it's all still the same. That won't change. We promise you that. We're going to continue to work hard at bringing you the most and jam-packed fun stuff we absolutely can. No matter what media outlet or whatever service we can do, we'll find a way to get it out there for you guys. If you want it, we'll have it for you. Take care, you guys. More content to come soon. Again, make sure you're following us on social media. We'll post updates there. We'll give you all kinds of new updates as we get them, from special guests to schedules for when we're going to put shows out. We try to keep you guys in the loop, so make sure you follow us there. That way you can almost certainly know, you get the first look and insight as to what's going to happen next. And actually, one other last point I want to mention too, the good thing about us having the ability just to record and upload is the ability that you guys, as I think I may have said too, but we'll be able to get the episodes out to you right away, and you'll have it on every single platform. Like now when we go live, we're only live on Spreaker, and it will upload once we go off the air. But that is another big perk that if you, like, say, you're a listener on iHeartRadio or on SoundCloud or listen to the show on YouTube, you'll have access to it as soon as we publish the episode. So there is a bright side for that as well. Just another food for thought for you guys to help spin that too. As we continue to get ready to transition, again, we'll try to make the live feature happen as much as we can. We'll see what we can do with that. But we'll get content out either way. You'll have it with you wherever you want it, whenever you need it. We'll be there for you. Take care, guys. Have a great night. See you next time. And, of course, as always, we say goodbye for now. Until... Oh, let's stop our fire first. I know I forgot something. I want to make sure I can hear myself say it. There we go. Good night and goodbye for now from all of us here. Until next time, when we see you at the show.
Thank you for listening to the What's Up Bro show. Catch all the latest live action on your favorite podcast streaming services, including Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. You can also check out episodes on the studio's official YouTube channel. Subscribe and become a member today. Don't forget to also turn on notifications so you'll know when new content is uploaded. Stay tuned and don't miss a single moment. We love and appreciate all your support. And as always, we will see you at the show.